Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Back again with Mr. Chris Riekert.
Hey guys.
Hey, want to let you know that actually this video is sponsored by Specialized. We recently put out a first impression video about the new SL7, and that was like 2 weeks ago already. Chris has put about 150,000 miles on the bike. How do you feel so far, Chris?
It's been great. Come on, it's a fancy S-Works bike. It's always going to be good. But I've been targeting like some 2-minute segments, which is like that, like right at your VO2 where you're dying halfway through the segment.
Peep that Strava. Chris is Mr. 2 minutes these days.
Yeah. That's my nickname from high school. It does so well during that when you're just trying to get all the power out you can. What about you? Have you been targeting anything?
Well, no segments. I'm trying to get back into shape, but I have done some really hard, like 30-second efforts, and I've been ripping some downhills. And
Mr.
Yeah.
30-second.
I walked right into that one, didn't I? So yeah, I mean, it's been great. Sometimes I can't even tell if I'm on the Venge or the tarmac, to be honest. If you missed that first impression video, we're going to link it in the corner right now. Check out Specialized.com if you want to learn more about the spec. We're going to do a longer-term review in about a month from now, but today we're talking about Chico, so let's dive into that footage. Yeah, so like I said, this is the 2019 Chico Stage Race. 4 stages. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. You're going for the green jersey, right? Which is a thing here.
Chasing down the jersey, the glory that comes along with the resplendent green jersey.
That's a deep pull. That goes deep.
Yeah, that goes back to I think that goes back to the crit video we did last year.
Same race, 2019.
There we go. All
Nice.
right. So Jeff and I just got overly excited on that topic. Yes, I am going for the green jersey, which includes both the finale of races as well as intermediate sprint points that are throughout. But I'm not alone. I've got a full squad. I've got 8 guys with me here.
This was before I was on Team Mike's bike.
And
so.
it is when Jeff was still a nemesis. Although he wasn't here because Jeff can't do road races.
Well, I'd also had like a 2-month-old at the time. So.
Whatever. Excuses. So, right, we've got 8 guys. We've got 2 guys that are chasing the GC Ambition that are, great time trial riders, really good road racers, and that's Sam Anderson-Moxley and Stephen Vogel. Then we've also got 2 great closing sprinters. We've got Matt Chattelong and Garrett Hankins, which is now one of the spots that Jeff fills for us on the team.
And those 2 guys are maybe the best sprinters in this race. So you guys had some good security to win this stage.
Totally. And that's kind of what opened me up to be able to chase those intermediate sprints and some of the other things. It let me off the hook a little bit.
So there were 8 of you in total. You mentioned you had 2 powerful sprinters. You had 2 GC guys. And that leaves 4 other riders, including yourself,
right,
as a support role or some ancillary like green jersey.
Well, yeah, in my case, we set up that secondary goal of let's chase a green jersey because that competition garners both some prize money as well as just some clout within the race, so that's a good goal for us. But as the rest of the riders on the team, our responsibility is to make sure that we're helping position and helping make the race easy for the GC guys. We are kind of dedicating ourselves to making sure that we're sheltering them, that we're getting bottles, that we're really just supporting them in any way we can. And our sprinters, that's the luxury of having an 8-man team. They are supposed to be as sheltered as they can and do no work. And so at the finale, they're ready to rip.
Cool. So it sounds like you guys have like distinct roles in your team. And this might not be for everybody listening to this, but as an 8-person team, having those distinctions in the roles means that everyone has their opportunity for success and everyone's working towards this common goal.
Yeah, you're totally right. It doesn't matter what the race is, whether you're at a stage race that's multiple days or whether you're at a 1-day crit. You have to think about, what are your skills, what are your strengths and weaknesses that you and your teammates can work on so that you can maximize the chance of a team win, or at least maximize the chance of your jersey getting to the finish line in the highest position possible.
So with that being said, maybe we should skip forward a little bit and talk about how you guys execute that. Now that you've racked up quite a bit of green jersey points, by the way. All right, Chris. You've gotten your green jersey points. We're about an hour into this race now. We've skipped forward quite a bit. Breakaways just have not been able to get away. Tell me what's been going on.
We've been sprinting. We have been sprinting for those sprint points, and it has yet to let any breakaway get away.
You think that's softened people up, or you think that's discouraged?
I'll tell you right now, it softened me up. I was not feeling super great right here until Sam goes.
Which was good timing because you guys had teammates on the front. You're approaching this technical section, and as a reminder, Sam is like your main GC guy.
Exactly. So, right. we have done all the sprints. We have done all that. This course is pretty genuinely challenging to get a breakaway because there's no real technicalness to it. You know, even it's a race car track, right? It's meant for race cars to go 100 miles an hour on. So sure, a bicycle at 30, it's easy for you to go too wide through most corners.
Which is why when Sam chose that moment to go, it was perfect, right? Teammates on the front means he knows the top 3 riders behind him aren't going to be chasing. He chose the most technical part of the course. Again, hard to put an effort on the front when it's technical because there's only one good line through those corners, and you guys just came off a hill. I think that was like the best time.
No, Sam timed it so well, and Sam always does. Sam, like, he's really, really good at that. Looking back at this is always funny. Like, I kind of always want to imagine that I've done everything exactly right, but when we looked at my wattage, I was like, that's a little much, isn't it?
A little much. But then you guys fall into hey, let these other guys chase, obviously.
Exactly. But there's one guy up the road, and right here you're starting to see the rest of the breakaway go across. So a couple other strong guys, Alexi Vermeulen, Jackson Duncan, and then our team captain, Roman Killen, they go across, and now they're going up to Sam, and we've got a great situation for a breakaway, right? We've got one of our GC guys, one of our workers, and then we've got a couple other really strong guys that are there. And from that means we're going to be happy with letting that breakaway ride.
Yep, and then all your teammates now are getting in the draft of all these stragglers who are like, oh my God, the race is getting away from me. And that's what's great about having good teamwork is you have teammates up the road, people are chasing, free ride. You get on those wheels and you discourage the chase effort and you get a free ride across to it potentially.
Right. There's a ton of really fast guys that are still in the main peloton, guys that are still wanting an opportunity to win this race. So just because that breakaway's gone, it doesn't mean this is over. Now that means that the rest of our team, especially our sprinters, but the rest of us need to be sitting in and conserving as much of our energy as we can, because even though that is like an ideal situation for us to have a GC guy gaining time on the rest of his competition, it might get brought back. And in that case, we need to come up with another solution on how we win this race.
Well, so who missed it then?
Well, Semperporo missed it, and they probably have the biggest GC threat. The guy that goes on to win the race. And realistically, he won it in the time trial. Eno, who's on Semperporo at the time, just crushed it. But there's also guys like Tyler Williams, who has now gone on to race on Legion, who's going to throw in a really great time trial. And is a great road racer. Those are the guys that are concerned about that group being up the road and are willing to do the work to try to pull it back.
And you're willing to sit in their draft while they do that work.
We are very willing to sit in their track. And so that's really what happens. They, the Semperporo guys, understand that responsibility, and truth be told, they do a darn good job. Joey and Eno both go to the front and realize, hey, this is on us. We have to bring it back.
And that's what you got to do. And that's something that you don't see in the lower categories in Cat 4, Cat 5. Maybe people don't realize what's happened. Maybe there really isn't much teamwork. But nobody ever wants to get on the front and chase. But sometimes that's just what you have to do.
Right.
Okay, so that breakaway didn't work out. But you guys have a plan to win the field sprint. Kind of walk us through that, Chris. How are you going to execute that plan?
Believe it or not, all breakaways don't work.
Most don't work.
So yeah, we're in the final lap. We're super close to the finish, and we have, obviously, like we said, we've got 2 great sprinters, so we need to set them up. Now, at the time, we had already had a conversation that we were going to have me in the sprinter's position, and then we were going to have one of our great sprinters, Garrett Hankins, what you'd call sweeping, which just means the last person in the train, and they are kind of like on the wheel of the sprinter to make sure that there's another rider that can't come around them.
But why are you guys doing it that way?
We're doing it that way because since I'm going for green jersey points, we want to keep me in the actual sprint. Now, the typical position for me is going to be further up in the line, doing a big pull, doing a lot of watts and like making sure the speed is up really high as we come into the finale. In this case, since we have that secondary goal, right? I've scored a bunch of points. We want to try to make that lead bigger if possible. I'm not even sure if I have the lead, but we want to make sure that I've got a lead in that green jersey. And so if I can snag 1 or 2 points in the finale, then hey, that's pretty good.
So you guys are rolling the dice a little bit here because you're kind of going for 2 objectives in the sprint here, which is you want to win the field sprint. You're confident you can do that, confident enough to the point where you can be in a position where you normally wouldn't be. And final corner.
And right about here is where we realize that we have made a terrible mistake, and that after I've done 5 sprints and closed down gaps and sat on wheels, Matt starts to go in the final few hundred meters of this thing.
There's no coming around
I
him.
can't come around him. So Garrett just goes ahead and does it in the saddle, and he's like, I got it. I'll sprint.
Yeah, good thing Garrett's strong, because that was a little bit of a disaster, I want to say.
Yes, that was a dumpster fire.
But it worked out in the end, because Garrett is a madman when it comes to seated sprints like that. It's pretty impressive. So, hey, congrats on. Did you get any points in the green
No.
jersey? No.
I mean, I did earlier.
Yeah, but
so we're sitting in a good spot, and we ended up getting the stage win. I think that's one maybe important note for us to close on, is that make sure you don't make your goals too complex. We were trying to do too much in that sprint, and what we really should have done, and what I should have communicated to the team was, hey, I'm not feeling it. I sprinted too much. Let's line out Matt Chat and Garrett and let them crush this.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Chris, good having you on. Appreciate it, man. And we'll see you at the next one.